that has to be compensated. If you find two people who are perfectly happy with each other, it's because they both feel like what they bring to the table is the same or maybe less than their partner, and they feel lucky to be with their partner.
I think
When
that
that
we
stops
both have
happening,
good things that we brought to the table for each other in this
so in your
relationship
mind
and
you
in
feel
our
like we're
life.
equal. That's great. That's why you want to be in this relationship. I don't feel like we're equal, and that's what makes me dissatisfied with this relationship.
So you can't look past
It's
my
not.
flaws
It's
and try to
no,
get through
Adam.
it?
I have to see other areas that are stronger than
Because
you're
before
physically
this,
stronger than
before you
me.
brought all this up, it was all about my anger. That was the only thing you said. And I've been working on that and getting through it. And now all of a sudden it's everything else. I'm not smart enough. I'm not working hard enough.
I've
Whatever it
never said
is.
anything about working hard
I think that a relationship is about compromise and people over it's supposed to be through sickness and in health.
enough. I've already
Like
told you
we
that my love is not unconditional. If we had wedding vows, it would not be unconditional. I don't believe in that shit. People change. Sometimes it becomes intolerable. Mental illness? Mm-mm. I'm not gonna stick around for mental illness. I'm not gonna stick around for abuse.
You're the one that started in this relationship with the mental illness and you've been getting better
Yeah, I
since
have been
you've been
better,
with
and you've
me.
been getting worse.
I have not. I've been getting better. You even said that with my anger problem. I've
From
been
the
getting better.
very beginning, you didn't have an anger problem because you were using all your restraint, and then you're like, oh, I can trust her. Now I can show her the real me. And I'm like horrified by the real you. And so now, only in the last month or so, you've been getting better. March has been great. You've been showing progress. But only because I came out and I said some really strong things that hurt you. I told you the truth. And if I hadn't, all those things that I said would have still been there and you wouldn't have been making progress. So when I see that, okay, I can tell him the truth, he can handle the truth and he can grow, that means that there's hope for our relationship. Once I start being quiet and not telling you anything, that's when I'm plotting how to get out
You don't have to be
and figuring
quiet
out my
and
exit
telling
plan.
and not talking to me about things. We can compromise and overcome.
When every single time I bring up something that's like, oh, this is hard for you to hear, we lose a huge chunk of our day productivity wise. And it's just a huge drama. And you act like, you're going to just throw in the towel and I have to talk you down. And it's like,
You have this way of putting a lot of pressure on me, and when you it was like I was being scolded because I looked at you for 3 seconds
no,
without or 2 or 3 seconds.
I was telling you that it makes me feel like I don't know what you're thinking is what I'm saying when you're just looking at me. To me, your expression when you're just looking at someone looks angry. You look angry now. You look angry in your neutral expression. So when I don't see you nodding or saying yes, in my mind, angry expression, silence, that means I disagree. It's just so fucking basic body language, and you don't get it. You don't get how your body language sends the wrong signals to me all the time.
I've been working on it.
Okay, well, I was trying to just tell you if you could just say, I'm thinking, or something, then I know that you're not angry.
If I was standing there for more than 3 seconds, I would say I'm thinking. Let me think about this. But when you're jumping on me after 2 or 3 seconds, that's not cool.
It's not that you had been staring at me the entire time we've been talking.
Your thoughts just continually go and
I
go and
know,
go,
that's
and
what
I'm
I
sitting there
say. My
just
brain
listening
will
to
work.
you. I'm letting you go through your thoughts. You can jump from one thing to another, and I'm just thinking while you're doing your
And
thing.
that's part of the frustration.
You should be able to accept me for that.
But how would you feel if when you were talking the speed you normally talk, someone had to take a full 3 to 5, maybe 10 seconds to process what you're saying all the time? when you feel a little like, oh my God, I do. Okay, I can't help it that I get frustrated when someone's brain doesn't work as fast as mine
So
does.
why can't you just leave me? You have to wait till we get a bunch of money?
I don't see
That's what
any,
you're waiting for, is
no.
money. So you can leave anyways.
I don't see any clear path to leave. Well, what's a path like when you're
So
walking
you would
in the
be out of
snow,
here as fast as you
if I
could be if
saw
you
a
saw a path.
pathway, yes, because that's
So
how I
how
live
am I
my
supposed
life.
to be okay with that?
How do you live your life? What do you figure out? How do you figure out what you're supposed to do? I have to see a clear pathway in front of me.
So how can you go on living in this relationship like it is a relationship if you want the fuck out?
I love you.
Really? How could that be?
I've explained that you are not your actions. Your actions sometimes irritate me. But if we got your brain working faster, you'd be just as smart as me. I know that for a fact because I used to feel so incredibly frustrated with Bryson because I'd be talking and he'd be so slow and it was just
You used to tell me that I was so much better than Bryson and all these other men that you wanted to be with.
I did not say your brain worked faster than him. I said that you're loyal. You don't have the need to wander.
You did
That's
say that
huge.
my brain works faster than him. You said that he was slower than me.
He moved slower than you.
Thinking wise. You told me that he responds slower and it irritated you.
Okay, probably did. He did probably respond slower than you. You have times where you're thinking quicker and other times where you're thinking slower. But anytime a person's brain doesn't keep my pace, yeah, I did get
A lot of times
irritated.
I'm slowing down because I'm afraid of what you're going to say.
Okay.
I need to make sure that I'm saying the right things. Because a lot of times I say something and you bite my head off for it. You're very critical about every little tiny thing, everything, whether it's the way I'm standing, whether it's I'm breathing, whether it's my posture, whether it's some of the words I say, every little fucking detail. And I can't keep up with it all.
That's not
It is true. Think about it. You have criticized me about everything. Yes. If I sigh too heavily, you think that I'm whatever. You've pointed these things out many, 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 many times.
Yeah, well, it's not the way you breathe, it's your emotions that you're expressing that I have a hard time dealing with. And I would rather you express those emotions elsewhere. I can't be around that. When someone's frustrated, I don't want to hear it. When Raz and Ronan start getting irritated and their voices raise, I get extremely irritated. And I said, you better.
Then this is a you problem.
Yeah.
Then do me the favor of not inflicting me with your disease.
Okay, so you want me to leave you. You won't leave me.
I
you
wish.
Want me to leave you.
I wish that we could make this work. I wish. But you're making it clear that you don't love me. That you shouldn't be with me.
That is not true.
You do not want to be with me. You want someone else that you think that you deserves you.
I want a better version of you because I know you can be a better version of you.
You don't want me. You don't want a better version of me. You're making that up.
That's not. Don't regress.
I don't know if I can believe that.
It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It's true.
How can that be true?
That I want to be with you?
Yeah.
Because I see that you could be better. I believe that the most stuff that's going wrong with your brain is
if you believe that I can be better, then why are you so bad to me? Why are you so critical of everything? You could think, hey, thinking to yourself, his brain isn't working right. I don't want to be critical of him. We're working on this. He is getting better. Maybe it'll take months. Maybe it'll take years. But I love him, he's worth working with in this way.
I try. I can try harder.
Wow, that's amazing. It's the first time I've ever heard you say that. When I say it every day.
I said in the text earlier. I'll try to be more patient.
Thank you.
I said it earlier.
Well, it's hard for me to believe because it's such a rarity for you to say something like that. It's like you won't ever apologize for something because you don't believe in it.
Most of the time, what I tell you is the truth, and you're so hurt by the truth. I'm not going to apologize for the truth. That would be wrong of me. You
Well,
can't handle the truth. That's your problem.
I think that apologies help people feel better, even if it is the truth. You want them to feel better. I'm sorry
I
that
want you to feel better, so I give you a hug and I can say, I'm sorry, I can't be happy with how slow your brain is. I'm sorry that I get irritated a lot by being around people who are dumber than me. I hate it. Wish I could just slow my brain down so I could be on everyone else's level, but I can't.
so you don't realize that you're whipping a big sword around hurting people.
I do, but
You don't care enough to try to stop
I
that.
cannot change it
I care
anymore.
enough to try to not have my anger problem.
Well, you do every day.
I'm
some
trying as
way.
hard as I can,
Alright,
and
well,
I'm getting better.
I try
You're not
to.
trying to stop whipping the
Every
sword
fucking
out.
day I get irritated at people. Every day. Do I say it? If I said every time I was irritated about how slow people were compared to how I think, I'd be saying it all the time. I don't. I keep it to myself a lot. That's why I said you hear 10% of what I want to say, okay? So excuse me if I let 10% out some of the time.
If your 10% is how I feel, I feel like it's completely fucked. And if you brought it all out, then I might there's no way this can work. That's how I feel.
Well, I think it can get better because I think people can change, and I saw it when Bryson started taking tyrosine. And with you, it is not tyrosine. I know that because you just get way too much adrenaline. With him, he needed tyrosine, and it helped his brain speed up to the point where we can communicate. And for the first time ever, I felt we were on the same level. That can happen. In a different way, different supplements, different process. But I've basically given up on being able to find someone who I feel like deserves me, so I have to find someone who is close enough and shape them into someone who deserves me. That's my lot. I don't like it. Now I wish I could just find someone straight out of
If
the
you're
package.
gonna shape me, I'm okay with that, but I don't like your tactics.
Well,
You need to stop using the double-edged sword on everything and chopping me into pieces.
You
Being so critical
overreact.
and so judgmental. You know I'm sensitive. I don't know how to change that.
Well, I don't
You
know
need
how to
to
change
try to.
I don't know how to change being critical if you don't know how to change being sensitive. We're like two. We shouldn't be together, but we have the potential of making money that could help our relationship. So, do you want to stick with it in the meantime, or do you want to take a break? Because those are the only two options I see working. I think we'd be miserable away from each other. You know, I think it would be a day before we'd just be crawling back to each other.
I think that our relationship has been pretty good until you tell me that you don't.
Those are all things that I've been thinking, that I've been bottling up inside. And if you want me to keep bottling up inside,
Well, I think that nice people bottle things up inside and try not to hurt other people.
Well, I don't always have the self-control to do that.
Well, don't always have the self-control to not get angry, but I'm working on it. Shouldn't you work on your problems?
You have said that you have the ability to change. I have told you from day one I don't have the ability to change. Okay? I react to things in my environment. When you're better, I'm better.
But I've gotten better and you've gotten more critical.
You have been really irritable since you stopped working. The last 3 days, you've been a little better today than you were yesterday. But the fact that you just your neutral face looking at me looks angry, it's like very few times you ever look at me and look like for someone who has a hard time being around anger, I get anger from you even when you're not even meaning to. And I just have to it's like Cleo. She's wagging her tail, but she's growling. All the dogs react to her growl, not her tail wagging, because that's what is more obvious to them. So it's instinct for a dog to react to a growl with concern. it's instinct for me to react to your face in looking angry as it is. I mean, if you look at your face, your face right now, you can't distinguish between it's like
That's because I have lines in my forehead.
Mhm.
That's how I was born.
So much of the no, it's not.
It
Because
is.
so much of the
I
time you've been
guarantee if you
angry.
saw a picture of me as a baby, you would see the same lines.
I know what you look like when you're happy, when you're high, when you have high serotonin. You don't look like that.
It.
I told you we didn't have anything to talk about that we wouldn't fight over.
I think we need to work through it.
Be right back. So, I mean, day after day goes by, I see the things that I'm like, oh man, wish he was doing this, or wish he did this better, or whatever. I have to keep all that bottled up inside.
I write it down sometimes. I get it out in my journal, and it helps. Instead of coming to you and saying that, all the things that are bothering me, I just write it down, and that helps me, and then I can get through it. There's nobody in the world I think that I would be perfectly happy with. I think there's always going to be something that you're going to find that you don't like about everybody.
Just because, okay, if someone is not angry around me and slow, those are the two things that annoy me the most. Incompetence, slow thinking, poor judgment.
Can't you just realize that you don't want to suffer like that, so it's your problem and you need to get past it?
Here's how I see it. I wake up and I'm like, I'm in a good mood because new day, work, yay, we slept. And my wake up state is more on the positive side than on the negative side. I'm usually more positive than neutral when I wake up. You wake up and you're always more negative than positive. And so I'm like tentatively trying to get affection before we head out to make sure that I just feel okay about us. But during the day, there was at least 1 week, maybe two, where there was hardly any anger displayed throughout an entire week. And I told you, those days where I'm like, oh my gosh, you've been so nice to me. Those days have been so few and far between. Every time that happens, I tell you, because it's so shocking. You didn't get mad at all today. Like, you were really good today. Wow. How many times have I said that to you?
Not much.
Well, it's probably a handful of days. So when I say I react, that means every time you're angry or slow or incompetent, it brings me down a little more, and I'm just like, okay, I'm a little less happy today. And so yeah, that comes out in frustration and being critical. I want to be happy. I want to be happy with the man I'm with. I want to be proud of him.
If I had a job and we weren't hanging out together trying to run a business together, then there's a huge chunk of me that wouldn't irritate you. If I was living a different life, maybe we could get along better. Maybe you wouldn't be so irritated with me because things would be different. If we had more money, or if this or if that. But a relationship where people love each other and where people wear a ring that I gave you, people try to compromise and
compromise
and look through the flaws and try.
Just like you couldn't look through my flaws when you think I'm being critical.
You keep saying that I have a too overly sensitive ego. Yeah. Well, when I wake up in the morning and I think I'm okay, but you think I'm angry, you're having an overly sensitive, whatever you think that is, whatever that's called.
No, because I've seen you when you're not angry. When you're high, Your face looks different. I can recognize what that looks like. You're the one who doesn't recognize your own emotions.
I've been high plenty of times and you thought I was angry.
Okay, well, you're capable of being angry when you're high. But that's when I see you the most happy and relaxed, or when you're drunk.
I can't.
If I couldn't tell the difference, Adam, when you're drunk compared to when you're not, then I would say that it was all in my imagination.
There's millions and millions of thoughts that runs through an individual's head every day. Millions of thoughts. Thoughts produce emotions. Just because I have emotions doesn't mean that it's because of you. I have thoughts about millions of different things that could affect the way I'm being emotional.
Right. But I never take my frustration that's towards another person and direct it at you, but you do that to me.
Well, I don't mean to.
I know. Well, I don't mean to get frustrated. I don't mean to
You don't mean to be critical of me?
No. I mean, none of the things we do are fucking conscious decisions. Get that in your head. They're reactions. They're all just instincts and reactions. We can't control them.
You're saying I can't control my anger, but I have been.
I told you from the fucking beginning that I didn't think you could control your anger, and you're the one who told me you could.
And I've been getting better.
So you're the one who believes you can change, and I'm the one who believes I can't.
And you've told me that I've been getting better as well. You've agreed with me.
Right.
So you just had a conflict of what you just said.
I believe that you have proven that you in some areas can improve. That's great. But that doesn't mean that I can. It doesn't mean believe that suddenly I believe I can be different. I can't change. If you can, that's great. That's the only hope we have. I react. So I will be sweet and gentle and patient with a man I can tolerate. And a man I can tolerate, I have no ability to regulate my frustration, my irritability, or my criticalness. So this, I wish I could, but I can't. Never claimed I could change.
So you just want to fake it until we make it?
Until we make some money, we can get help. That's been my plan, and I've told you that over and over.
It's just hard for me to get past the part where I really don't. It just feels like this is. It's hard for me to give you all of my love when you really just don't like me. You don't want to do this.
Then don't. I mean, it's hard for you, then don't. I don't know what else to say. There's not a lot of options that we have right now, okay? I mean, if we wrote down all our options, we'd probably find 5 at the most. Do you want to hash them out? Or do you just want to, do what my plan is and just try to focus on making money so we can get better?
Well, what if we don't make money?
Well, then we can decide then. A year goes by, we've made no progress, no money, and we're not any better, then we'll call it quits. We still got too much.
But in the meantime, it's like, I need love. Okay. I need you to love me. You need love. You need me to be certain things for you. We have needs, and if we can't fill those, it's not going to get better.
What do you want to do? I don't think we could find someone else who would meet those needs. I mean, we could try, but it's like, what are our options?
I don't understand why you can't try to get better. Well, you're so set on yourself not changing.
It's not that I'm set. I just know that that's not what happens. I don't change. Not from making decisions. I change from my external situation changing and my internal biochemistry changing. Those are the two ways that I'm able to change. I do not change from making decisions.
But if I was really all happy, it would be because I thought that we were in love. And if you're not really in love with me, how am I supposed to be all happy in the way that you want me to be happy? For you to be happy, I have to be happy and give you this certain love. But
No,
for me to be
actually,
happy and give you this certain love, I need to feel like we actually have something.
we really don't have a lot right now. We have the potential of something. We have a fucking sucky relationship that has the potential of being great. Do we want to hang in? Do we want to take a break? Or do we want to call it quits?
Well, I would never say, maybe not never, but I can't say that I would call it quits. I can't say that anything other than I want to keep working on it. That's how I am. I'm just wired that way. I don't give up.
This is the one thing we have in common. So
If you really think that you can love me, why don't you? Like, I have to be perfect for you to love me first?
What? This is frustrating, Adam.
I'm really trying to understand this.
I'm really frustrated at you right now because I'm repeating myself over and over again and you're not getting it.
It's because I have to get this. Yes, it's very important.
Love is a feeling, it's a choice, and
So you can give me affection without loving me?
I feel affection towards you. Do you know what the feeling of affection feels like? The feeling of wanting to be close to someone. That's what I have for you. It's called affection. Okay? Does that make sense?
But not love.
It depends on your definition of love. Love is seeing someone's potential and wanting them to achieve that and loving that potential. So then, by definition, I love you. I do not believe that love means accepting that your partner's flaws will never change and being okay with that. That's cool if you can be, but that's something different. That's called acceptance. Love and acceptance are two different emotions. You can love someone and hate the way they act. Don't you get that? Have you ever loved someone that you hated the way they act?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. So you love me, but you hate the way I act. I love you, but I hate the way you act. It's fucking the same. And I'm getting really irritated right now.
So when you've told me that when you're in this state, all I have to do is give you some affection.
Yes. All you have to do.
The reason that I'm driving you insane right now is because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how this could actually be. I'm sorry, okay?
I've explained everything logical in English. I don't know why you can't understand it.
I get what you're saying for the most part. It's just really hard for me to get to work it into real life. I have to figure out how to mentally hold this and continue with it. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm. I know, this has always been the problem. It's always why I'm like dreading any truth. I'm like, nope, don't even ask. Don't ask that question. I know where this conversation is going.
How can we avoid frustrating each other?
Don't bring up the fact that any conversation that may lead to me pointing out your flaws, okay?
Don't bring up the fact of any conversation.
Don't bring up any topics. For instance, just a matter of respect. You want me to act a certain way towards you when I don't feel a certain way. Oh, I don't know. There's so many things. There's so many triggers.
See, this is why I'm talking about this and it's irritating you, because I want to have a clear path of how to continue without irritating you, or so we can continue to love or have affection for each other, whatever it is. This is what I'm fighting for.
Honestly, if we could just stop talking about our relationship
For the moment, or ever.
or until we get some money, let's just focus on being productive. And if we find ourselves not being productive because we're distracted by emotions, just fucking put the emotions back, okay? We don't need them. They're not helpful. We just need to like go into robot mode, okay?
So when you get frustrated because I'm looking at you for 3 seconds or 4 seconds,
I did not even communicate that to you in a way that was frustrating. Frustrated. I just said, I can't tell what you're thinking when you're just looking at me
and
like
I
that.
explained to you that I was thinking, the wheels are turning. I'm comprehending everything. I'm listening to you speak, and I explained that to you, and you kept going on and on about how you didn't like it.
Caroline does the same thing. She's really quiet when I talk to her. And she does this thing, and I was like, that's interesting because I've never had. Okay, men who think slowly typically do what you do. They just stare at you, expressionless, because they have less empathy. They're not putting themselves in your situation and feeling what you feel. They're instead just feeling what they feel. Whereas Caroline, she read that I was wanting feedback. She read that on my expression and my body language. And she's like, I know I'm quiet because I'm thinking, so don't think I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just thinking. And then another time.
So every couple of minutes when
No.
you're talking to her, she'd have to say that for you to be okay with it?
No, she said it once. And then the next time, maybe she's said it twice. She's like, no, she's definitely said it more than twice. Probably at least 5 times that I can think of. Maybe even more than that. It's not every time we talk, but she'll say, I hear what you're saying, I'm processing it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Because she actually needs time to process it. What is there to process? But I don't get irritated because I know that she's thinking. Instead, your body language, anyone looking at you would be like, okay, he's disagreeing. All that needs to be there is the next body language be crossing arms and turning away or clenching jaw. Like you have 3.
So what happens if I'm actually disagreeing?
Then you clench your jaw and you turn away.
What if I actually disagree and then you're upset? Like, shouldn't I have the right to disagree?
Well, it's frustrating because I think I'm smarter than you. And so when someone disagrees, I innately think
But I've
wrong.
had a lot of experience with certain things and you haven't. Like how when you were talking about the poop scooping rates, I've been doing it for a long time, and so I'm processing how I do it, how I've done it, how it could work in the future. I'm listening
but
to
you
all your...
inherently think that your experience is better than my brain because...
Not necessarily. I'm just going off what I know. I'm not thinking that I'm better than you in any way. I'm just going off what I know and processing what you're saying. And then you'd get irritated, and maybe I think...
I wasn't irritated when I talked to you. When I brought it up, there was no irritation in my voice at all. I was just letting you know, as you improve, I will let you know little things here and there so you can continue to improve. If I just stop, it's like, oh, he's not angry anymore, yay. It's like if your Your anger is not the only thing wrong. I never meant to mislead you thinking
So if
that.
you point
Your
out,
anger was the thing that was making me want to kill myself. Okay? That's different. Your slow thinking does not make me want to kill myself. It just makes me frustrated.
so
Okay?
when you point out a little thing like I'm staring at you too long, and I'm not answering quick enough, or I am not hugging you right, or something like that, I feel immediately like I have to do it right then. But what I would like to be able to do is say, okay, I hear you. I may not be doing that right now, but I'll work on it.
That would be a great response.
But
that
I
would have been a
feel,
fucking great response, Adam.
yes, but I feel like I need to immediately do it right.
I never said that.
That's the way I feel. I'm telling you. The way you make me feel because of your criticism, I feel like I have to immediately make it right.
Because you're oversensitivity.
And I'm always trying to immediately make it right. And I'm always trying to be sensitive to you. And you want me to be sensitive to you and to try to figure these things out and get better.
I don't want you to overreact like that. It shouldn't have been a big deal. Like a normal person who didn't have an anger issue. When you're looking at me like that and not saying anything, I can't tell if you're disagreeing. They would have been like, oh, I'm just thinking. And that would have been there. Do you see a little laugh, a little smirk, like surprise? That is a normal reaction.
Instead of being
your reaction,
irritated
Adam,
by you saying that.
Oversensitivity. Your ego is just incredibly fragile. You can't see it, but it's the cause of almost every argument that we have. Because you don't take criticism like a light thing like it should be. It's just like, oh, this horrible thing this person just said. And all I said was, I can't tell when you're staring at me if you're angry.
And then when you say talking to you is like talking to a wall,
yeah,
that's supposed to be something that I'm okay with?
I don't care if you're okay with it. You shouldn't be. I'm not okay with it. When someone is expressionless,
so it's okay to say that kind of shit to people?
It's like talking to a wall and basically saying the same thing. Your expression is blank. It's like talking to a wall. That's what I mean. Because I'm getting no feedback. I might as well be talking to a wall because of the amount of feedback I'm getting from you.
So it's okay for you to say certain things to me that, I mean, it seems like these kind of statements would hurt just about any normal person.
For you to say I'm a control freak? That's a fucking true statement. Should I be offended? No. Jesus Christ, it's true, okay? So if I say something is fucking true, that you're not giving any feedback and you're just staring at me, then fucking accept it.
Why don't you just call me a fucking retard then?
Retard is not the same thing as being an unexpressionless, non-communicative wall. Being a retard is someone who is, really slow mentally. I would never ever put you in that class. That's a legitimate class, and that's not something you should say as people can't help if they're
I've been hurt and put down and criticized by people my whole life. Okay. So I apologize if I'm a little sensitive about it.
I'm not criticizing when I say your brain works slower than me. I'm just stating an observation.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't feel good to me.
Well, too bad. It doesn't feel good to have my brain work faster than everyone else. I don't like it.
If your brain works so much better and faster than everybody else, why do you have so many problems? Why can't you fix this?
Emotional. I don't have a mental retardation, Adam. I have a mood disorder. It's fucking different. Okay? You can be a genius and be a mean person and not be happy and depressed. Okay?
Okay. I get it. I'm sorry.
I know you want me to say I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize for saying the truth.
I do. I apologize for things that make people uncomfortable because I'm a gentleman and I want people to be comfortable. If the bathroom is being used and someone else is in it and someone else comes up and they're like, I need to use the bathroom right now, and I'm like, I'm sorry, someone else is in it. I'm being truthful. And I am sorry that they have to wait if that other
No,
person.
it's not. It's just a thing that people say. It doesn't really mean you're sorry. Like when we say, I'm sorry, I'm taking responsibility for this thing I did that hurt you, that is a different thing than a socially acceptable, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we say I'm sorry when someone died. That doesn't take responsibility for it, okay? I can say I'm sorry that our relationship is hard, but that's not taking responsibility for it.
I'm not asking you to take responsibility for it. I'm asking you to help me feel better about
And
it. And
saying
saying I'm sorry
sorry
is
makes
condolences. It's like, you know what? I realize you feel something, and I want you to feel better. I want you to feel better.
I want you to feel better.
You know, saying things like that, saying nice things to people helps.
Okay, so what are the things that I can say? I want you to feel better. What else?
I love you.
I love you. What else? You don't seem to accept those things, so.
Could be giving compliments to people helps. Finding things about people that you like instead of things
I
you don't
tell
like.
you when I notice things about you that I like.
I know, and I like it. It helps so much. It's like it
Right,
makes all the difference in the world when you say
right.
something nice to me.
And yet, you can't take a single bad thing. Not a single one without reacting. I mean, give me one criticism that I've ever given you that you've been okay with. Exactly. That's what I mean. You can call me a selfish bitch. You can yell, throw your phone at me. I'm not getting offended because my ego is not that fragile. I know what I am and what my value is, and I know what my faults are, and I accept them because I can't do it. I can't do anything else. It's like I am controlling. I know I get this way when I'm in a relationship that sucks. Okay, it's happened to me 3 times. Start out all happy. It's like, okay, this is good. Oh no, he's got flaws. Oh no, we need to fix these flaws. Oh no, he's resistant. Oh no, this relationship sucks. Now I'm not happy. Now I'm going to try to fix him with a vengeance before I give up. It's what I've done. And then I give up because it doesn't work.
Fix me with compliments, and I'll fix you